Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whichever part of the world you're tuning into the Toast the Toss. My name is Arun Sriram. I am from Bangalore. I used to host this show in the inaugural episodes, and I'm so glad to be back to be hosting this show today in the absence of our regular host, Suraj. And on this show tonight, we have four panelists, as I would like to call them: Arijit, Bidhu, Tejas, and Abhinav. All of us ardent cricket fans, and we will talk about things that have happened in the last few weeks and what's in store in the next few months. We will cover the Asia Cup. King is back, the Queen is gone, and therefore, what has happened to the England South Africa match. We will talk about the beautiful third one day between Australia and Zimbabwe, and all about the preparations that we wish India gets into for the T20 World Cup later this year in Australia. So we are good to go. Let me start with Eat That Frog concept. Therefore, let's talk about Asia Cup and let's get that done with maybe in 5 to 7 minutes. So, gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, Tejas. What is your takeaway from the Asia Cup so far? There's still a final there, we know that, but yeah, so far, what's your takeaway from the Asia Cup?
I think as a tournament, in terms of entertainment, it has given us a lot. Of course, would have wanted India to be in the finals, and that's a separate story altogether. But we've had some really tense matches, last over finishes for a lot of matches, and there is a caveat that whoever wins the toss wins the match kind of a scenario. But I feel on a whole, this Asia Cup edition showed us that Asia Cup is still relevant and more than ever, if you ask me. So the small teams getting a chance to fight with the bigger ones. All in all, it's a great tournament. Sad to see that India is not in the finals, but I'll be watching the finals tomorrow. It's been that kind of a tournament.
Lovely. Abhinav?
Yeah, I just want to point out that I'm really happy with how far Sri Lanka have come, because for the longest time, I used to watch Sri Lanka come to play and immediately turn the TV off because I couldn't bear to see Angelo Matthews' face, right? For the longest time, he was the lone performer in the team with everyone around him just saying, you perform, we don't want to turn up. And now they've defeated India, they've defeated Pakistan. I don't know why that wasn't the finals, but we're doing the same match again, giving Pakistan like a trial match before the match, right? But such is the problems of the format, I say. But yeah, good tournament. I didn't expect it to be what it was. I thought it was, Tejas said it was relevant, but at the start I thought this tournament is quite irrelevant because the arrogant view of this tournament is, well, there's just three countries playing good cricket: India, England, Australia. England, Australia aren't there, so why is this tournament happening? But it's been good fun to watch. There's been a lot of fireworks. There's been a lot of wonderful performances by teams that you don't expect at this stage, and it's been great to watch. So good tournament for me all in all.
Sure. And yeah, Sri Lanka's transition has been rather fast, right? I think Dasun Shanaka's firebrand inspirational leadership is really, really working for Sri Lanka right now. They went through a couple of series with India as well, I think. And people say that whenever there's a downtime and India needs to recover, they go to Sri Lanka. I think karma is hitting back a little now. And Oreo, what are your thoughts on Hong Kong getting through? Did you expect Hong Kong to qualify? Of the four teams, how do you think is the affiliate nations performance? Anything to look forward to in future from such teams?
Well, I was looking forward, means I did not watch any of the Hong Kong games, sadly, but I was actually rooting for Afghanistan to win, and they had very close finishes against Pakistan, Sri Lanka. Had they made most of the circumstances, they would have been there in the finals also. However, they were responsible for one good deed they did was they were responsible for the comeback of a certain king of Bangalore. So only that's the only good takeaway from the tournament. Thus far, it has been a very exciting tournament, especially happy for Sri Lanka because they had lost the first match to Afghanistan. They were almost on the way to lose the match against Bangladesh. and from there they are in the finals. They topped the Super Four. So yeah, all kudos to the team and the management.
Right. And Bidhu, on Afghanistan itself, right? What is it with their temperament? Why have they suddenly turned into a team that is so abrasive on the field? Any takeaways? I think even Javed Miandad had a problem with the way that the Afghanistan team was, playing against Pakistan. And I even saw Rashid Khan kind of getting into altercations on the field. Have they reached that point yet, or do they think 11 Virat Kohli will make a great side? What exactly is their attitude on the field?
Yes, so we have spotted a few incidents where Afghanistan off-field behavior has been not off-field behavior on the field, which is not related to cricketing, have taken precedence. But I think cricketing-wise, if you look for tournaments other than this tournament, they have actually moved teams to the end. Even in the 2019, when India was playing Afghanistan, they had a realistic chance of defeating India when Mohammad Shami came in and took that hat-trick. And even in this tournament, both the matches which they lost in the 19th over. So you can imagine the level of frustrations creeping up to the players, because for a large part, they know that they have the game with them to defeat the bigger teams. And especially what happened against Pakistan, because there was no way Pakistan would have lost that match. But the way they came to bat and the approach they took completely favored Afghanistan. They could squeeze them in. And just because the last over, the two balls did not land the way he should have landed it, else I think Afghanistan would have won that game easily.
Right. So looking forward to the final tomorrow. May the best team win. And that brings to the next question that Oreo kind of alluded to. King is back. Yeah. I have my thoughts on the century and on Kohli, and I'm getting trolled for that anyway on social media to the limited extent that I have my influence on. I'm losing a few friends on that, but yeah. Who's any first views on Kohli's century? Again, this time I'm going to go slightly in a different order. Oreo, you spoke about the king. Let's talk about the king. Yeah.
It reminded me of another century we Indians waited for quite a long time. It was a decade back. That was Sachin Tendulkar. I remember that excitement. I was in Chennai back then. And like he scored the century, everyone was happy. Oh, so much relief. And I believe that was the 100th. And then we went on to lose the match. So that did not have any
Nobody
relation
cares.
to the score or anything like that. We lost to Bangladesh of all the teams. And the feeling over here was almost similar that he scored a century, okay, great. But in a match which was not relevant, maybe it will do good for his confidence and all that going forward. But you were playing against a team which was there on the ground for 2 days continuously with 35, 36 degrees temperature. I don't know. Uh,
Where
that's
were you on social
quite
media
tough.
when people were blasting me when I kind of derided the century? Oreo, please come to my Facebook timeline, support me there.
Shows how
And then,
shows how active we all are in social media. At most,
how
what we
much
lose
time I
two
have?
fans out here.
But I think the point that Oreo is making is largely missing. That Afghanistan were on the park for 2 days consecutively, and after that heart-wrenching defeat that they had, to come back again and to face the batting lineup of KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli. Of course, Rohit Sharma was not playing, but again, India had 7 batsmen who are world-class batsmen, so that would have taken a toll on them. And once they did not get the early breakthroughs, it was fairly easy to keep their heads down and see whatever happens, and that's what played into the hands of Virat Kohli, and he largely. But the thing is, Virat Kohli actually raised a lot of questions to the Indian team now, because in the beginning I told the elevation of KL Rahul into vice captaincy is something which I am unsure of, especially in the T20, because he should ideally have competed for the place in the top 2 with Rohit and Kohli. It's not that KL is a given at the top. But now that you have made him a vice captain and captain when Rohit Sharma is not there, and you're actually seeing Virat Kohli as a potential opener, it's up to how the coach probably manages them if they have to leave out a KL Rahul to take Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli to open the innings now.
This was a question that someone asked KL Rahul in the press conference, right? And he asked, "Should I sit out?" And everyone was like, "Yes." But I mean, just to bring a contrary view to the king is back, I feel this is good. I know it was against a depleted Afghanistan and all of that stuff, but for those of you that have been following the show ardently, you would remember I wanted Kohli to go back into Ranji Trophy and score runs at domestic level, right? And I feel this is at par to that, if not better. So, given where he was, right, forget this tournament, forget 50 against Hong Kong, 50 against Pakistan, sort of, and this century. But Kohli before this couldn't put bat to ball without nicking it to the slip. Now, from there, he's currently the highest run getter in this tournament. And unless we have, I think it's Rizwan or whoever was the second, unless we have him scoring a 50, Kohli is going to wrap up this tournament as the highest run getter, which who would have thought it?
Nobody would have thought of, absolutely.
So it's good. It's definitely a good sign for us. In this aggressive format of Kohli's batting, I think he's very well suited as an opener. Particularly given that Rohit Sharma has also taken that slightly aggressive stance in the last couple of matches. So definitely things to think about for Dravid and for Rohit Sharma. But again, I don't remember a tournament we've played where we've not had more questions being asked of our selection committee, right? So I've also been very happy with the way we've rotated our squad this tournament with a lot of other players getting chances and stuff. So I'm super happy that Kohli's gotten this century. Big monkey off his back. Hopefully, this triggers a lot better for him in the future.
Sure. I mean, the kind of cricket that he has played, I think there's one thing that I started to notice. I've watched all of his innings in the Asia Cup, and I think he has shed his ego. There's no cover drive that you saw. There was one against Naseem Shah which was dropped. But apart from that, at least early in the innings, I've never seen him go for those flashy drives. So that tells me that he knows that he's not bigger than the game. He needs to respect certain aspects, and then he has to change a little bit. Now you see for the same deliveries, he shuffles a little outside off and then tries to flick it on the leg side. If Kohli gets his cover drive back, there's nothing like it. But he is willing to, work around that and, play the sort of aggressive cricket that the team is requiring currently. At least he's trying to. There is intent. Century or not, I feel he's in a good space. Currently, he knows the role. Most probably will be number 3, so that will be the biggest positive for me. King is back not because of the century, but I think King is back respecting the game more, and he understands that he is not bigger than the game. So that's the biggest positive for me.
Yeah, and I think it's a great lesson for everyone out there on the importance of mental health as well, right? Your mindset. He took time off, 1 month of not playing at all, coming back, looking more relaxed. We are back to the cheerleader phase of Virat Kohli, which was missing for a while. So those are all good things that have definitely happened for Kohli, and hopefully this will build into the T20 World Cup. I hope he's not rested for the 2 series against Australia and South Africa. We seem to be preserving people like they are pickles or something like that. I think we really need to get them on the field, sun-dry them a little bit, and the tale of the 2 Rahuls will play out over the 6 matches. Let's see how that goes, right? Aside from the Asia Cup, there was one little beautiful nugget of cricket that happened, which was the Zimbabwe-Australia series, where Australia won the first 2. I don't think any team scored about 200, maybe in the first 2 matches, because I think Zimbabwe didn't get to that mark. And even when Australia got to play, they didn't score the 200. They got all out for 140. Ryan Burl again came with who expected someone like that? The beautiful story of the Puma sponsorship. It's a lovely piece when somebody like an underdog goes and wins in Australia. Did any of you guys follow that game? Let me start with that question.
Yeah, I just casually woke up at around 5:30 when the toss was on. I was like, I didn't get any sleep, so I just watched the game.
I'm sorry to cut you out, right? But in one of his previous comments, Tejas said, I watched his innings in the Asia Cup, and he was talking about Kohli, and I kept thinking, when have you not watched cricket going on? Right? I casually woke up at 5:30. Recently married, for our audience. This man is recently married. He casually woke up at 5:30, watched the toss, forget the game.
Yeah, my sleeping routine is perhaps for some other time, but yeah. No, I think it was a weekend. Wasn't it a Saturday? Saturday
Sunday
morning?
morning, I think it was, if
Sunday
I'm not-
morning. Yeah, just woke up 5:30. I mean, the first thing I do is to check cricket info. I mean, that's just me. So I just woke up. Toss had happened, and I mean, what's the point? I just woke up and switched on Sony Live, and then I was just watching. And Warner was playing beautifully as well, so that was good. But yeah, as the match transpired, and then I texted some a few other people, just watch this. This is good. I mean, I was happy that they were able to finish the game, and a 5 wicket victory against a full strength Australian squad.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever been so happy watching a cricket match, because they deserve it. I think the kind of history that they have, all these players currently, the money that they're not making these days. So all the story, I mean, it's just a feel good match it was. So I was happy that I woke up at 5:30.
yeah, it was a full strength side, right? So that was
Yeah,
the
it's full
best.
strength
It's
side.
not like a B side or a B plus B minus kind of a side. It was a full strength side, and it was really beautiful to watch when Zimbabwe won that game. Anyone else saw that game?
I
No.
did, but I will take a point from what you statement you made, Arun, like about the ballers, the ball who was sponsored by Puma. So Puma has this very rich history of sponsoring all these beleaguered cricketers. Like Ball was one, then Kohli is also being sponsored by Puma. Respectability. And speaking of sponsors, this show also requires some sponsors. Puma, if you're watching this, please, please come to our rescue. Other than that, that was a very nice, interesting game. I always like the moments when I see Australia lose to any team, irrespective of who the opponent is. But there was a good game. The rest of the team, minus Warner, none of them played well. And there was a good fight by Zimbabwe, and David versus Goliath is always a great story to have.
Super, super. Bidhu, you have anything to add?
No, I was just going through the scorecard of the match that you were talking about, and the only thing that I could spot, because I was watching the Zimbabwe-India series, because a lot of things are happening there. So Sikandar Raza did not score any run in that particular game, and then also they won. And Sikandar Raza and Sean Williams are the two most
Yeah.
for the players who you feel that they would do well in games, and without them contributing, they won. So I think that is the icing on the cake for Zimbabwe. But yes, you put things in perspective. I don't think it is going to happen regularly. It's just a one-off game. I remember the time when Ashraf Full had a brilliant innings in Australia to defeat Australia in one day, but Bangladesh are largely the same team. So yes, we can enjoy one-off wins, but we know realistically this is a one-off game. It's a flash in a pan. But let's enjoy the moment for Zimbabwe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also happening in this time frame is the England-South Africa Test series. We had two almost one-sided games, I would say, and the third one is again going to be one-sided. RAP, the Queen of England, and that's made this into a 3-day Test match. I think it's 1 day too many of the 3 days as well, going by how South Africa got bundled out for less than 120. I think they scored 118 if I'm not mistaken. And England is on a rampage again. Bazball is great. Is it suitable for every team? People seem to be chucking it, saying it's no theory, and now everybody wants to do a bazball and failing at it significantly. So, what exactly is happening in that series? Not able to make any sense out of it. Please help me.
I think a whole English summer, I'm not able to make any sense of it, to be honest. They had around 7 limited overs matches in around 10 days of time, and all these and those matches were the perfect place to play the baseball cricket, but they didn't. And in the test matches, they're just going haywire. They were 84 for 3 in around 16 overs. It just doesn't make any sense, much of a sense. I think it was down by from. I think someone from Cricinfo is the one who started this baseball stuff. So they wanted to, after South Africa won the first match, they wanted to coin another term called bouch ball, because
Okay.
boucher, I mean, that really was anyway. Let's not get into that. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't make much of a sense. I think this summer has been weird for England because I think there's a little bit of shortage of rain. I have not seen it rain a lot these days. So the Duke ball, it gets softer. All those things I think has helped bazball, but in future I don't think it is sustainable. I think it's just way too aggressive for Test cricket.
Are they actually playing with the Duke balls this time? I thought they moved to SG or something. Maybe it's for the white ball cricket, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure which ball they're using, but definitely they're using baseball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's fascinating to see how it's going. It's no longer really test and all. It's like 40, 20 innings rolled into one red ball game and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the test cricket that's happening? People are following, not following? Who cares? India's not playing.
Yeah, I mean, sort of, but just on baseball, right? It's so symbolic of his career, right? Because I never really thought he had any strategy. I mean, you can't just say, come and hit the ball is strategy. Okay? That's ideally strategy for every batsman out there, but he just kept whacking at it. And at the start, it worked very well for him because nobody else was doing that. And it very soon backfired on him because even the finals, I think the first ball he went for a reckless shot and threw it away essentially. So I think that's what's happening to England. I think baseball did wonders for them at the start, and then now it's just like his career taking that turn downwards, right? So yeah. Interestingly, I don't know why no one's pointing the coincidence between Kohli's century and the Queen passing away. It's surprising because I was messaging one of my uncles in London and he said she looks like she was waiting for the century, right? And he's like, oh, she's just 96. Like, no, Kohli century, not yours. So yeah, coincidence.
True. Yeah, and now finally moving on to the final segment, it is prepping for T20 World Cup. We have 6 games to go. What more experiments do you think that the Indian think tank is going to do? Or is it going to be now one team, 6 games, and then take the team from there? You think there are more spots up for grabs, or 9 or 10 spots are already taken as far as Indian team is concerned?
I can go first. So I really would like to know the situation of Mohammad Shami because look, what I felt was the reason why Mohammad Shami was sidelined was because India felt out of Umran Malik, Avesh Khan, Prashid Krishna, one of them would actually cement the place in the Indian team because they were the kind of bowlers who are hitting a 140, 145 pace, hit the deck hard, who ball the bounces and all that. And what really transpired is that none of the three actually cemented their place, and we are back to Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Arshdeep, who are largely competing with Harshal Patel and Deepak Chahar. So if you are going to have, if you have to go to Australia and where the ball doesn't really swing that much and there's pacey wickets, do you really have to depend on Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya to bowl those quick deliveries, or do you want to have a Mohammad Shami back because clearly Arshdeep has not, Avesh Khan has not cemented his place. So I largely look what the selection is and really are we done with Mohammad Shami in the T20 format? Because yes, you can take Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but I am really upset with his non-contribution in the end overs because I thought twice to not help India is something which is cause of concern. Yes, he came back, blew away Afghanistan, but I was really hoping that at least in one of the games against Sri Lanka, Pakistan, he would give a lot more for Arshdeep to defend. So that is one selection. And second, I am also not convinced with Deepak Huda's place in the team because in the lead up, he was actually tried a lot in the top order. Now suddenly he is being tried as a finisher, and I have not seen him finish games in the IPL. And he cannot go get into a team because he will bowl 2 overs. So these are the 2 puzzles which I need answers from in the next 2 series, and let's see how that 2 shapes up.
Sure. Oreo, you have a smirk on your face. I want you to pitch in here.
I thought you were the person who was supposed to ask questions, but Bidhu asked a few questions. I have a few questions like, what about Pant and Dinesh Karthik? Who's going to solve that conundrum? Who gets a place in it? And I don't know whether having series in India, the 6 games which we have on hand, will it actually make any difference? Because we are playing it in our home conditions and all that. So again, in Australia, the conditions are quite different. And again, coming to the question of the bowlers, like if not these guys, if not Arshdeep and Avesh Khan, who else we have? Will we go back to someone like Umran Malik or something like that? I think there's a lot of confusion with regard to the team composition. And plus, it's a great time to ask whether Rohit Sharma, do we see him as an effective captain or not? Yes, he did great for Mumbai as a captain, but for Team India, I think he hasn't impressed me much, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, three occasions, the way he's handled Arshdeep when he makes a mistake, when he doesn't make a mistake, it doesn't really reflect well to see a captain going bonkers on the field like that. People keep talking about how good the think tank is, giving space to people, having role definition, and all of that. So I think outside those ropes, I think there's a good job that's being done. But in the heat of the moment, definitely a lot left to be desired in terms of Rohit Sharma's temper. He makes Virat Kohli look like a saint, which is not the best thing on the field to have. And I have nothing against Virat Kohli, but Rohit Sharma's captaincy or when things are not going right, he seems to be as clueless as KL Rahul is. And in the two matches, the minute I saw KL Rahul trying to counsel Ashdeep on where to bowl, I knew that was going to be the last ball of the match. The entire Punjab Kings memories gushed back in my head, and I was like, we know where this is headed, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah, Abhinav, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's fair to say that Rohit Sharma, when things aren't going well, is as clueless as KL Rahul when things are going well, right? But that's night jive apart. I think I'm quite liking our squad balance over the last few matches, because one stark difference from Virat Kohli sides to Rohit Sharma sides is that we no longer follow 5-5-1.
Yeah.
Right? Kohli would be 5 batsmen, 5 bowlers, 1 keeper. Nobody does anything else, right? And now we have 7 bowling options. We have keeper that is a finisher, right? So I'm liking the way our squad is structured. There will be changes. There will be questions on, we want to preserve a Bumrah because he's done a lot in the past. We want to make sure he's fine and stuff like that. So I think largely our setup is good. I see Huda coming into the squad, particularly with Jadeja not being available. If Jadeja is going to make it back, no place for Huda. But in the absence of Jadeja, I think Huda needs to be there, even if it is just to bowl 2 overs. His batting, we know he's performed. And, like you're saying, we can't compare what's happened in the Middle East to what's going to happen down under, right? So they're two very different conditions. I believe he's a good addition to the squad. Equally, I believe Pant, the most surprising thing about Pant is that he's turning out to be not a T20 batsman. He's someone that's really aggressive, but after playing 20 balls, his aggression really turns into results. So, I feel we need to rest Pant, keep DK as our keeper. That opens up batting spots as well, where we have enough talent to come in there. And that's the way I would see it. But yeah, over the next 6 matches, what I would ideally like to see is no shuffling around. Pick a squad, stick with it, make the team come together and get some results. Right. So that's how I see it.
Sure. Final word from you, Tejas?
Yeah, for me, more or less the squad is settled. I feel you can have a buffer of either Huda or Akshar Patel at 7. And the only reason I don't see Shami coming back into the squad is how many pure bowlers can this team afford? Right? We already have Bumrah, we already have Chahal. Both are, honestly speaking, are just pure bowlers, and you wouldn't really have anything from them with the bat. So if Mohammad Shami comes in as well, then that becomes a long tail. And that's the only reason I feel Shami might not be there. I'll see Arshdeep and Harshal playing together. They're pretty good at the death, and with Bumrah, it becomes a lethal attack there. We have Bhuvaneshwar or either Deepak Chahar for the initial overs. So I think more or less we are settled. Then I mean the jury is open with respect to Pant or DK. It really depends on whether the team management really believes a left-hander adds a value in the middle order. If if they think it doesn't matter so much, it's DK. Or if you think Pant has done really good in Australia, why not play him? Then it's Pant. I think more or less we are settled. And yeah, I mean, sorry to say, but I think I don't really see Shami in the squad. I don't see him in the whole picture at all. I might be wrong, but it just feels like that.
Super. I've seen in the past where there were so many experiments made lead up to a tournament and they ended up picking the same side that represented India in the previous edition. Right? So 2015 became 2011 team. After a lot of things leading up to 2019, they said number 4 is fixed, number 5 is fixed, and we know who actually played number 4 to start the tournament off. So there's some cold feet that they develop getting into a big tournament. I hope that's not the case this time. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining. And people who are watching Toast the Toss, please also, if you're fans of sport overall, please watch our shows on tennis and Formula One. And there's something exciting coming tomorrow, which we'll talk about later. It's a surprise package for now. And gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight. And keep the patronage up. We look forward to seeing you in our forthcoming episodes as well. And as we lead up to the T20 World Cup, there will be a lot more shows that will be coming up on cricket. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, we wouldn't mind the Puma sponsorship. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have Upma t-shirt. If that works, I'm willing to give you guys that. But yeah.
Spelling mistake only. No, it's okay.
No, I have actually done that. So I'll share that with you guys. No problem. Okay. If that helps. Extra chutney sambar also comes your way. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been lovely talking to you and back to hosting after a long time. It's been a pleasure for me. Thank you. Thanks once again. Bye-bye.